came to shooting, we focus. Won't miss, that's culture. Check. Can't break down if we rowling. Won't quit, that's culture. Check. It's a trend, the moment we in motion. Legit, that's culture. Check. Speak loud, no wonder we boating. We lit, that's culture.
Check. What's up, y'all? We back at it again. Episode of Quarantine Check. Yeah, I know we look a little different. That quarantine life. How y'all feeling about this quarantine life?
Man, I'm chilling.
That's all anybody can do.
Yeah, I'm enjoying my time off. I'm gonna take this time off because we ain't never gonna get this time off ever again in our lives. So let's enjoy it.
It's enjoying, but I'm getting a little tired of it. I hope it's not turning me lazy. That's the only thing I'm concerned about.
You just gotta keep busy. That's what I've been doing. Like, have like a schedule. Like I have a schedule on my board. Like every time I'm doing something.
Okay, so you got something like that to keep you occupied.
Yeah, like I have like a schedule written out for like a daily schedule.
I feel that. Cam, you look confused.
Look, like I told you on the last episode of my own, I gave you my 5 things I've been doing this quarantine. So I just exercise and I stay to those 5. I stay consistent.
That's right. If you come out of this quarantine overweight or something wrong, you got some problem. Because there should be no excuse why no one should be kind of fit or ready for unforgettable fall. I'm gonna say that.
But gyms are closed, so you can't really do weights unless you have some at home.
Work out at home. Y'all look like ashamed to do push-ups and sit-ups.
No, I'm saying if you don't have weights at home, then you're screwed.
Oh, well, that's them. You can easily do home remedy like stuff, whatever.
Miles out here fat shaming people. That's what he's doing.
Right?
I'm not. I just feel like you should be able to work out like I have. But I've been doing that, and then of course watching a lot of stuff, even though a lot of sports ain't happening. Except 2 biggest things happened in sports. We had the NFL draft. Yeah. That was weird way.
Yeah. Did y'all see the video with the mom snatching the girl out the?
Oh, you talking about the lady snatched the white girl off?
The white girl, off the guy's lap. Yeah, that was so funny.
Yeah, I saw. The highlight though was the dude of the Cowboys got picked and took the phone out of the girl's hand.
I didn't see that one.
That thing.
I saw that one. Something in that phone, Miles. Something in that phone.
She tweeted saying he was on the phone with the Cowboys and his agent was FaceTiming him on the other phone and she was being a girlfriend and wanted to answer for him and he snatched out of her hand. That's his business, baby.
I get it, Miles. Come on, Miles. I get what he's saying, but something else up in that phone.
I believe it, but she wanted to answer her phone still, but that shouldn't happen. That we got a good man. That boy reflex is on point.
Yeah, I can really say that's a good pickup for the Cowboys if his hand's that quick.
I'm telling you, boy got snatching balls out the air.
How y'all feel about the Bucks?
Bucks who?
Like getting Tom Brady and like all that. Like
Tampa Bay.
Yeah,
look,
the Bucks. Tampa Bay.
This whole area of Tampa is about to go crazy because obviously they got Brady, they got Gronk possibly now, and then the Super Bowl is also in this city.
Yeah,
they're about to go ballistic.
Yeah.
So
that's why all that construction and everything has been going on. And if they don't win the Super Bowl, it's gonna look pretty bad.
They're not going. They're gonna be a good maybe 8-18. They're not going.
It depends. I feel like it depends on their chemistry. If they click right away, then maybe they can get to the championship, but we'll see.
You right, like Tom is not 41 already.
I mean, but he was just in the Super Bowl.
So. When? 2 years ago?
I mean that's still recent.
Hey, that's more recent than the Bucks.
Yeah, so
more recent than them.
Did y'all watch The Last Dance?
Oh, without
did. Oh, without.
No, is it about The Last Dance?
Yes.
Okay, I was thinking it was, I don't know why I was thinking like Last Chance, but yeah.
Oh, no. Oh my God. No, it's really called
It just sounded weird coming out like The Last Dance.
No, man. I think that's a highlight for a lot of people right now. Every Sunday now, people go to church and they're going to watch that Last Dance.
It was so good. So good. What was your favorite?
And there's more to come?
I honestly think from this whole thing, we've actually learned how Michael and his teammates, of course, how they work together. But number 2, I think we also were able to see exactly Michael's process and everybody's thoughts at the time. Because it's different, when we look at them on their highlight tapes and be like, yeah, Michael was doing it. Scotty was doing it, man. Dennis and them were out there. But to actually see and experience now live what they were doing and how they
What
were
they went through,
cooperating with the team, it's a whole different feel. You look at the Bulls so differently now. You really do. You look at them all differently.
And here's the thing. That was just 1 year. This was just this is all just about the final year. All of them were together before they won.
I mean,
their
they go
6th
back
championship.
like for different like seasons. Like they did.
Well,
like,
yeah, they go
the
back. They
91.
talk about it, but they talk about all that stuff.
But that's
But-
important because it leads up to.
It leads up to the final
Yeah,
thing,
that
heads
final.
up the Last Dance. But it's just like, I thought it was just interesting. Of course, Dennis Rodman, the latest episode that came out, we all know he had some stuff going on.
No, not a little, Miles.
He had a
He
lot
was
of
wild.
stuff going on.
He was wild. Dennis was wild. But
I feel
was
like
good wild.
once he hooked up with Madonna, his whole like personality, like his image just changed. I was like, oh, okay.
Hey.
You got the colored hair.
A colored hair, the boy wore a wedding dress. What,
He has
I don't
like
know.
a ring right here, ring right
He still
here.
has it
right
today.
here.
Yep.
That's what
The
I'm saying.
piercings. Like he was wild. But
Yeah, so-
I really love the fact that MJ is really saying what he wants to say. Like in those interviews where you see he's on a one-on-one in the couch, he's
Mhm.
actually speaking exactly how he feels about it.
And I like the fact that like this whole documentary just goes to show like how a team can like a team so small and like less dominant than like they went up against the Pistons, like how they can come together and like make it work and like figure out plays to get to the basket without being like dominated by another team. You saw like the process of them working up to something and like working together and like Michael saying like, oh, I'm not just going to be a solo guy out there. I have to trust my teammates. Like it's really good. And everyone
I
brought
think-
something different, like every
think
single
it was
team
great.
member.
It was crazy because Michael and those guys had to get physically ready to play the Pistons. They
Yeah.
had to physically get dominant. And you think about it, Miles and Brooke, all the time we hear all these old heads, Charles Barkley and everybody on ESPN, oh yeah, these young bucks can't play back in the time back then, man. We were real physical. Honestly speaking, from watching that and watching a lot of highlights,
It was definitely it was more raw. It was more raw back then.
It was hella
Yeah.
rough. Hella
Yeah.
rough. James Worthy even said he don't know how Michael survived it because it was like, yo, they were really beating people up, and when they fought, they fought. They were swinging punches, everything, blood, because like it was that physical back then. That's why you always had the comparison. If people nowadays could play back then, can they take it? Would it be as great?
You know what's crazy is like when I was watching the first 2 episodes mainly, it's just seeing like I saw so much of Kobe and Jordan. Like you just see like the chain reaction of like the influence, and like they're saying like LeBron like learned from Kobe, but I don't see Kobe and LeBron like or LeBron. You know, so it's like I literally saw
I see what
like
you're saying.
I literally saw like
Yeah.
Kobe. They talked alike. Like their attitudes were exactly the same. Like it's crazy. Kind of like made me a little sad. I was like, wow, this is like legit Kobe. Part 2.
No, yeah, Kobe came in the league saying I'm gonna be better than Michael and told it to
Yeah.
his face. I said,
Yeah.
yeah.
They're like the same player, just different names and numbers.
Oh, different names, but I'm telling you, that's why I'm tired of the whole comparison. If you want to say anyone is closer to Michael, I say Kobe. I'm sorry.
It's gotta be
I mean,
close.
that's just a given. I feel like LeBron, like he can't compare to Jordan. Maybe you can compare him to someone like more like he's a dominance player. He's not like an overall like all around like
Magic.
There you go.
player. Yeah, like a
you
Magic.
go.
Exactly. I
There
feel
you
like Kobe and Jordan represented leadership, hard work. Like they were just focused. Like LeBron's focused and all, but he has like he's not as mature. He's maturing now, but I feel like he's not as mature in the mindset of basketball when it comes to like leadership and like being like stern.
He never had that killer instinct.
Yeah, that a killer.
He doesn't have that real.
Yeah, he doesn't
I'm
have that
an
raw.
assassin.
Yeah, he's very like
Don't
kind of like
have
playful,
that.
not playful, but he's just like kind of like I'm gonna do whatever.
Well,
I
you know,
mean-
leadership. That leadership goes in 2 different ways because Michael and Kobe, they demanded literal perfection from him.
Yeah,
wanted
they
perfection
like
from
led their
everybody.
team. Kobe, I mean,
Yeah.
LeBron's just like, oh, it's me and D-Wade. Oh, it's me and this person, and they're like we got this. Like, you know.
Well, LeBron's more. I think he's more, if you will. He tries to family-orient his team. He's more so
I
like,
can-
yo, I don't want you
Yeah.
guys to look at me as too demanding.
He tries
wants
to be their
good-
friend.
Yeah, he wants to be
Yeah.
a good supervisor at work.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Befriending everybody and all that.
Yeah, that's how he tries to be. And of course, he's got rings, so you can't say it hasn't worked. It's just worked for him.
That's true. That's very much true.
But I feel like his rings came from different teams. But Kobe and Jordan had their rings with the same team. That's the only difference.
Oh yeah, we can go all day about how how LeBron got his rings.
That's why I feel like they're not even on the same like.
We can go all day about that.
Yeah.
But I think another big one was the Scottie Pippen story, basically about him. So far, how they really, and I'm not shocked. I'm kind of like, dang, they even did this back in the day, because we see some of it still of like today's time, where organizations will offer people contracts. Mainly, I think we see in the music industry a lot more than the sports world. But they offer you a contract, and it's like it's not even at par level of your playing style. So like how Scottie got robbed of so much money under a contract, and even under the series shows that the dude said, "Hey, don't sign it. I think you can get a better one." But Pippen, for some reason, thought,
"Hey, he did it for his family.
Exactly.
For his family." So it's like, okay, I see that point, but. I mean,
but the fact,
if you think about it, though, like, honestly, he still made 18. That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money, but here's the thing. It's a lot of money, but still, if I'm good enough to make this much, why am I being paid under than my talents?
No, basically. I agree. But, I mean, at the end of the day, he signed the contract, so.
He signed the contract, but why did they even offer that in the first place?
I mean, that was before they won a championship.
And you got to remember, Miles, each time those people like Jerry Cross and all those GMs, you think about it, they're running a business organization. So they want to get the most bang for their buck. They don't want to spend out most of that money. They want to save most of that money for themselves or other things they want to invest in. So when it comes to players, especially when they first get them, you think about it. Scottie Pippen coming from impoverished circumstances. You throw a little bit of money at anybody that come from those type of circumstances, they grabbing that. They going for that.
You hear 18 mil, and you come from the projects. You're like, oh, bet I'm gonna take this. Help my family.
Yeah, you going for it. You are going for it. So yeah, those GMs, they just want to take it. They want to take as much as they can, and give out as little as they can in order to keep their organization running.
I can agree with that. And like you said, bro, at the end of the day, he did sign the contract. It's just crazy because when the documentary goes up on how those GMs and the president was talking about it, especially how he even said how, I forget his name right now, I'm just woof off this cup, but it's old boy was saying like he feels like the organization wins championships. And when Michael was saying no, players win it. And I'm just like, that shows the mindset he had right there. That's all I'm saying about that. So it's like, but wait, Kim, you said that's true?
Yeah, no, that's the players. The players win those championships.
I mean,
the players are out there. Yeah, they practicing. They out there hard working. Blood, sweat, and tears. Man, they out there on the floor. Look at Jerry Cross. It looked like he was about 5'8", God forgive me, and 230-something plus pounds. Who was he winning the championship for, Miles?
No, I agree that they helped put it together. Like Michael said, they helped put it together. But you're not on the floor doing all the blood, sweat, and tears for this thing.
Exactly.
They make the trophies. That's it.
Exactly.
The players win the trophies. That's it. They make the trophies. Yep. They build the stadium for people to come and watch this. But at the end of the day, like you said, the players win the championship. It's the coaching and the players.
That's true. So would y'all say, and it's crazy, I don't want to say just blacks, because there's obviously more than just black people in all these sports leagues, but majority of the percent, like in football, is like 67%, basketball is like 75% are black in the league, that these owners really don't fully respect these players. And we had incidents in our recent times where they still have some, like, oh boy, who owned the Clippers a long time ago.
Yeah.
I feel like it's more about they respect the talent more so than
because they see them not as human but as money.
Yeah.
Basically, money makers for them.
I mean, the world that we live in America, it's all about money. Look at now, like at the quarantine, like this whole like thing, it's all about money. Like,
that's
so this world, that this country revolves around money. So they'll pick money over anybody. I feel, no matter who you are. If you're giving them a source of income and a large sum of that, like they're not gonna care about you. They care about the money.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. They care about the money you make, but because you're gonna make the money. If you're good, you're gonna bring people to come to the stadium, pay tickets, and all this stuff, and help to win championships. That means they just get more money and for their check. But as far as when it comes to cutting the checks, if they're making them so much money, why do they do it? Now, this might sound like a dumb question because we like, Miles, we live in America. It happens all the time. But it's still the fact of why, even in sports, they want to just, nah, you made us all this money, but we still going to give you just a little cut of this or not really pay you as much.
I feel like they're just greedy. And they probably feel like, oh, this is my organization, so I should be making like the most of the money, you know? Like I am the owner of this, so I should be making the most money. These are just my employees, you know? In a way, they kind of are.
It's always like that. Any business, and I don't even think just in America, but any business, anybody who owns the actual team or the organization or anything, they are gonna want the biggest cut, regardless of how much work they actually do. They're gonna want the biggest cut because it's like, well, this whole thing is mine. You guys play in an arena that I paid the lights for. You guys play for a coach that I hire to help, get and things like that. So they're gonna want the biggest cut. And mind you, again, they haven't set foot on the hardwood at all. They haven't been to practice at 5 o'clock in the morning. They haven't lifted weights, nothing.
But then it comes to the respect. They have to respect that the athletes bring in the people.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the Bulls. Like, you saw how their stadium, like they were legit had no one come to their games, and then once they started winning and they had talent come in, the stadium was sold out every single game.
So well, it seems like they still don't get it. Then it seems like they don't get that. Okay, the players, we were nothing. Now the players brought us all this stuff.
I feel like players who deserve it.
Corners.
I feel like players who deserve it today are getting paid really well. Not to deserve it, but the players who stand out at today get paid.
Yeah,
pretty well.
They get paid. Well, of course,
like the Currys, the LeBrons, they all get. Every single standout player gets paid really well now.
Well, the whole league has jumped when it comes to money now.
Yeah, like it's a lot.
Everyone across the league is getting paid way more than they were still back then. Even though they were making good money still then, but the salary has jumped for them and everything. But it's big also, like even in NFL, how the Dallas Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott. Jerry, he still is yet to have signed a new contract with this new amount of money. Jerry Jones has said you were going to be your franchise quarterback, and we just went through a draft and everything, and he's still yet signed. They already signed the other stars, but yet this boy who's been great has not been signed yet, and they've been battling back and forth. Okay, money in this, money in that. It's just, I don't know. It just tweaks me in the wrong way because will we ever have a protest in sports other than the kneeling, which was on different terms? But will we ever have a true protest for, okay, players are going against the organizations?
Wait a minute. Let me ask this because I've asked this question before. I don't know if you guys know this, but look at all now. Granted, this is a totally different subject, but look at all the NCAA athletes, right? Look at all the money that they bring in from playing these championship games and these games that they have at their arena. They don't get paid nothing. They get a free education and they get certain.
And allowance.
Yeah, they get certain perks and whatnot, but they really are actually being so undersold of what they really, they bring in.
I'll go back and forth with you on that because I'll say, okay, I guess you have a point, but still, I'm thinking in my mindset, if you are going to a college, a good college, for free, just to do something that you love, because that's money in itself, books. Admission, all this stuff, food meals and all that come with it, classes. So it's like all that's being paid for, and that's money itself. That's a lot of money, room and board.
Yeah, so, but if you consider it though, like the average like college tuition like per year is like not $1 billion. They're making it's a $1 billion industry, and these players' tuition's like $30,000, $20,000. Like that's a yearly salary. That's something that's like really like minimum wage. If you think about it, you're making $30,000 a year.
Let me add to Brooke. What happens, Miles, when those players get hurt? You do know you can lose your scholarship once you get hurt.
So they're making
So you think? So y'all agree that they should really I'm not saying I don't believe that college athletes shouldn't get paid.
I feel like they should get paid. I feel like, dude, I don't know, because most of them aren't gonna make it to the league. Let's be real.
I'm glad you said that.
So I feel like if this is like their last step, I feel like they should get paid to an extent. Maybe not too much, but this is like I feel like they busted their ass to get there. and
Yeah,
they're
of
working their
course.
ass off, so they should get paid for this. I mean, at the end of the day, they are 18 and older. They're adults, so they should be getting paid like adults.
But let me ask you this: like you said, not all of them are going to the pros. There's a lot of sports in college. So are we just paying mainstream sports?
See.
Baseball. Now, see, baseball, basketball.
It's the sports that generate the most money. Football and basketball.
Exactly. You're not paying a lacrosse person
Okay,
no
well,
money.
I mean that's not their fault. Lacrosse isn't a franchise sport. So if they can't get paid, they can't get paid because they don't sell out their stadiums or they don't have the crowds for it.
And
It's
that's
based on
that's
what
going to
you
cause
bring in.
tension.
I mean that's
What?
not tension.
No.
It's reality.
Yeah, it's based on what you bring in. It's got to be based on what you bring in. If as they say, if you putting asses in the seats, you should get paid for it.
Okay, so but people go see volleyball games. People go see these other things, but they're not a sport that like get put. So they might get on TV sometimes. ESPN shows the top 10 of some lacrosse and volleyball stars.
Who wants to watch lacrosse and volleyball? That's not exciting. Not as exciting It's just I feel like those sports, they're great sports. I played lacrosse. I played softball. I played a lot of like those other sports. But so something about basketball and football and even baseball in the major league, like it just brings the community together. It brings the crowd together. The athletes are more athletic and it's more of like a physical, really demanding sport.
Well, yeah, there's 4 major leagues. You got hockey, you got baseball, you got football, you got basketball. Those are the 4 major leagues in America that make the most money. So yes, I can understand that. But I'm just saying as a college aspect, because these are still not professionals. These are still amateurs. All of them is still considered an amateur when they're playing in college. So the fact that I'm going to pay this amateur this much and not pay you at all, that is my question.
I mean, all athletes have scholarships, whether it doesn't matter who you. I mean, even I danced for my school. We had a scholarship. Like every team has a scholarship. I feel like it just depends on how much of a scholarship you get, depending on how much revenue you bring in. Because
so you're saying okay.
Every single that's from what I know from my experience. Every athlete has a scholarship. Just depends on how much your scholarship is and like how much they want to give you, depending on how good you are or your years, like things like that. So it just depends.
So like for Ken, because you play college ball, you got a full scholarship?
It was at the time, and then I left. So when I left after 2 years, I then going to USF. When I got there, those scholarships don't apply. Of course,
right.
You can't transfer schools and go. So when I tried out there, and then they tell you, oh, you can't. We can't offer you a full scholarship. It's kind of like, oh, well, I would just be practicing on this team, or just be with the team, putting in my time and everything, but not have a full ride scholarship, not have anything. Now that takes another form of dedication and all that. And I tip my hat off to those who have done it. But yeah,
But I feel like those scholarships though, they come from recruiting, like high school recruits. Like that's how you get your scholarship. Yeah. So like if you're a transfer coming in, like it's going to be hard for you to get a scholarship because you weren't recruited by that school to get the scholarship. Exactly. Yeah, so it's different.
That's exactly right. So that's why I really condone paying these athletes, man, because you think about it, man, some of their parents, other than their scholarship, some of their parents cannot afford to give them anything towards school.
I mean, that's very much true.
So they're out there on a limb.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where you're just kind of like, if you make it, you make the money. You make the money. If you don't, you don't.
And tying that back into Scotty and the Bulls, actually, when I think about it, Scotty actually in the documentary, you could see he was, of course, upset about being underpaid. But as we said, it was the principle of the idea that this man was the second leading scorer on the team, Miles. First in assists, first in steals. You know what I mean?
One of the best in the league.
Yeah, he was the backbone.
Especially when Michael retired, he was basically the best in the league.
You get what I'm saying? So it for him, it's like, yo, if you will, the morality of this is like, man, hey, y'all need to pay me. You know what I mean? I'm doing all this work. Granted, I signed the contract for however long I did, but you guys are not even willing to renegotiate with me. Come on, that's different.
And I feel like, and that's what I said when it comes to respect. As an owner, you have to respect your players and their abilities. And a lot of owners back then, obviously, or just the people who brought the players in, they didn't care. They just cared about making money. So it just goes to show it, obviously, in The Last Dance, how stuff like that is ran.
Oh yeah, because Pippen was ready to be out. He said he don't want to play ever in a Bull uniform ever again. He was cussing old boy out on the bus and
Yeah,
everything.
that was.
So yeah, I'll be mad too. Now, granted,
Hey,
look, Michael thought he was being a little selfish, but I mean, still got to look out for yourself though in this time. Because Michael was also underpaid. People don't want to talk about it, but Michael
No, he
still
was.
also went through a contract being underpaid. He just still balled out on the court. But he was underpaid too for a good amount of time.
But he also had his own franchise with Jordan. So
yeah, that's why I guess maybe
it.
that's why he probably didn't. Cause
so his revenue is going to be. I mean, obviously, it has nothing to do with him getting paid with the league and just by that. But he had other sources of income. Look at Shaq. Shaq, he literally made most of his money through endorsements and investing in Google and all those big companies like that. So that's how he made his money, and he's still making tons of money from it. It's just,
and look, he now got a chair seat at Papa John's now.
you know,
I
so
was hoping
so
someone
it's all about how can you expand your money. If they're not paying you the way you're going to be paid, maybe take a different route. Oh, how can I invest my money into something, make a business, and make more money out of what I have?
That's a good thing. Did Scotty ever do that?
Oh, well, yes. If I'm not mistaken, I believe he did. But actually, that helped me think about something. You got to think about it. Most of, and I don't, like I said, I don't want to make it sound like this, but most of the black athletes are not trained or not taught to how to fiscally make their money work for them. Most of them are not taught when they enter the league. What's the first thing we see those players do when they get in? Buy a car, some type of house, some type of jewelry, some type of something that, you can't really get value back from it.
But that's very true. But then again, it goes to it's their upbringing. Maybe they didn't have money growing up. They didn't know what it was like to find.
Well, that's the problem.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It starts from the beginning. Most of these guys they're unaware of what to do with their money, and so it kind of, when they get to those points right there, it's a blurred line, because you really think about it. With the money that most of the NBA players and NFL players make, there's no reason why there shouldn't be, if you will, more owned businesses by athletes, or more, you know what I mean, or more private businesses that athletes have. And there's a lot that do, but you know what I mean?
Some don't have a lot of financial education that know how to balance money. And that goes back to how it is. Like when the NBA cut out that, okay, you don't have to go to college, you can graduate high school and go straight to the league. One of it had to do with maturity of a kid going into a big league. It's like it is a business, but also you send an 18-year-old boy in making millions of dollars, you don't know how they're going to react. So I feel like, yes, also was to grow in the game by going to college as well, learn experience there, but also gives them the chance to grow and mature themselves as well. Get a little older to understand how to, okay, be my own self, living on my own. Because you go from a boy who just was living at his mom and dad's house, and even though college is, you still kind of not on your own. You're on your own, but you don't have your own house or anything. But you still have to be on your own and learn about yourself and grow. Then you go into a league where you have to be a grown man. Kind of is a little different. So, but I feel like to that they should still have classes or something or have something where they have to teach them about some type of financial etiquette.
I feel like they probably do now. And just people like Kobe and like Steph Curry, who come from families who their dads were playing in the league. Like they have that influence, so that their money is good. Like just certain players, the players that come from, the projects, like they don't have that. But I know some players that do. So it just depends on where you come from.
Where they come, yeah. And most of, I would hope, and I would think by now, like you said, by now they should be able to see, okay, wait a minute. My career is not guaranteed here. One injury can just kill it all. I need to take advantage of everything I get financially, from endorsements, clothing deals, everything. I need to take advantage of it and make sure that money can go beyond where I'm at. Because the ball always stops bouncing. It will stop bouncing. You get old, everybody goes through time where you're going to be done with it.
I have a question. Do you think that's why players like Curry, LeBron, Michael, and like Shaq, like those are like the top players because they've branched out? Or do you think they're the top players because of just their game? Because if you think about it, the whole package, like just like the endorsements, like I feel like Jordan wouldn't be as big as he is without the Jordans, like the sneakers, his whole company, like, or like Shaq with his investments? Do you think that could be a reason why people are gravitated towards them more? Is because of what they're doing outside of basketball and not just in basketball?
I say no. I say because in order for them to get that, they had to be good in the league.
I'm talking about still being popular and being like the franchise, like.
Oh well, no, because if all of this basically, it's great that you have endorsements. It's great you got sneakers. People gonna know your name, cool. Because a kid could be born and see these are Jordans. There must be a popular shoe. Everyone's buying them. Who's Jordan, and they relate it back to.
That's what I'm saying. So like, if there was no Jordan company, and it was just Michael just playing basketball, only basketball with no endorsements, no nothing, do you think he would be as big of an influence to people now without his Jordan company? I'm saying to take Jordan minus the Jordan company, like all of his endorsements and everything, just Jordan as a player. Do you think if he didn't have those deals, would he be as big as he is today? That's what I'm saying.
I see. I kind of see what she's saying now. Because in order for these kids to see who Michael Jordan was, they gotta watch sports shows. They gotta watch documentaries. They gotta go on YouTube and watch how he played. So, dang.
So I feel like Jordan's like having Jordan's like a generation thing. So it's like, oh, I want the Jordans. Like I want to be like Jordan. Like if there was no sneakers.
I see what she's saying as in a generational sense.
Like that's what I'm saying. Like these leaders, these influencers, like Kobe's having his home facilities and like his own Mamba brand. Even like the balls, like Melo and all them. They have like their
Lonzo
own brand.
Ball and all that.
Lonzo, they have like their own brand. So it's like, do you think without the brand they'd be as popular?
We've seen it. We've seen branding and marketing be, especially now. Back then, it took time because Jordan did revolutionize the game as far as being a name and a household name as far as shoes and stuff. Because even to a degree, when you mention Dr. J's name, it's kind of, even though Jordan looked up to Dr. J, his name is superseded by Michael's because.
And you have Space Jam too.
Yeah, the brand. His brand is bigger.
Was in movies
his brand
too.
Is bigger than Dr. J's. You know what I mean?
Kobe branched out to do rapping and music videos. So it's like they had a wider fan base.
Yeah, you become when you brand out like that, because Jordan, even though his skill spoke for himself without question, his skill said everything for him. However, people knowing about him in Japan, people knowing about him in China, people knowing about him in Wisconsin and wherever else, came a good portion of that came from him being a household name.
And you know what's crazy? As a woman, as a girl growing up, obviously I didn't care about basketball, but the reason how I got into Jordan, he's one of my favorite players, is through Space Jam. That's how I learned about him. It wasn't because I was watching him. So it's like, as a kid, I saw Space Jam. I was like, I want to be like Michael Jordan. You know, so it's like, I'm not like him, but you know, so it's like those little things you don't think about that can make someone be.
Yeah, the name has longevity because of all that stuff that constantly is being seen in each generation, even every 10 years, all that stuff, people still see it. Even when he's gone, people are still gonna see it. Kobe, rest in peace, he's gone, people still see Mamba mentality, the Mamba
Sports Academy
brand and everything. Yeah. So all that. So I see what you're saying about that. I can agree with you on that. But if you're a real sport fan, I think you'll go, and even if that wasn't existing, but you're a real sports fan, you're gonna know who they are.
Yeah.
So
that's very true. But I'm saying as not just the sports fans, like that's why people like Kobe and Shaq are bigger than other players, and they have more of an influence. Even LeBron James right now, he has his I Promise school, like different things like that make them like stand out and make them leaders, like Black leaders in today's world, or just back then, like they were like the leaders of their generations because of not just what they didn't put on the court, it's just other things that they did besides basketball.
That actually leads me to something else now that you say that, Brooke. For me, I've always felt like for a lot of, and I don't want to be like that guy to make it sound like this, but I'm just saying what I feel is what is. For Black athletes, I've always felt it was important for them to hold a specific standard about themselves. And granted, now, you know, that pressure has been pretty, it's a big relief from that pressure now. But you got to think about the times when we first started getting into sports, like people like Jackie Robinson and those who first started integrating sports, there's always kind of a, if you will, a big eye on those type of athletes of color, because it's like, okay, well, you know, you kind of have to play for a reason, and you kind of want to represent, you know, well in a way, because of the way media has portrayed certain athletes and stuff like that. Trust me, you think, look how bad Dennis Rodman was getting attacked for his fashion and everything like that, how they made him look and how they made him out to be. Now, granted, maybe it could have been different if he was, you know, somebody else, but you have to look at the type of attention they attract more so because of the standard and the placement that they're in.
I can agree with that. I can agree with that. So, and that goes regardless, because you are looked at now as, like, Black people already got, like, all eyes on us and almost anything that we do in the world. So now that you're in a place where the whole country and possibly the whole world can see you, you really got to watch how you carry yourself. Even though you are just still a human being, you still got to watch how you carry yourself.
It's important.
That's why that's a big thing. I remember Charles Barkley, when he was in the league, he had a commercial when he was trying to tell people, I am not a role model.
I'm not a role model.
I agree. These athletes are not role models. But it's just the fact that they're in a position that people are going to look up to them, especially little kids, because they're doing so good, making money. They're going to be like, okay, wow, I want to be just like that. Goes for rappers, goes for anybody, in comedians, anyone in the entertainment business that everyone blatantly sees. So that's the thing I think we always got to worry about.
I feel like with what you guys are saying too, with the whole like influence and leadership, like for example, you have the Kobe's and Jordans, who were a good representation of a Black male who worked hard at their craft, and like they were just about what they were doing. Like they worked hard at what they were doing. And you have someone like Steph Curry, which I feel like he always gets a lot of flack because he's called soft. But like if you think about it though, like he's carrying himself so well as a Black man. He might be a light skin, not like a dark skin, but he's carrying himself so well. And he's influencing a generation of kids. He, even like his family life, like just little things like that, like they're good representations of a Black male. Look at LeBron James now. Like he shows dominance. He's a good way for Black kids to see a dominant force in an industry, whether it's sports or whatever. Like he's very dominant at what he does. So I feel like those big leaders that we see, like posted all over the NBA, like the Currys, the LeBrons, the Jordans, Kobe's, the Magics, like it's because of what they represent. They represent positive influences to Black kids.
Careful, you said Magic Johnson. Careful on that one.
I mean, as a player.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Because he was that guy before the whole thing. He was that guy. You know.
Yeah, he was. He was.
Magic kind of like owns LA with his movie theaters.
That's no doubt. That's no doubt. Yeah. You speak LA, you must put respect on Magic, man.
That's what I'm saying. Like whether he made a mistake back in the day, obviously we all know what happened, but like just what he's done, like in general, like besides that, maybe it's a good lesson for people. You know, he was the example of what not to do, but it can make someone not want to do that, what he did.
Now, Miles, I understand what, you know, I of course, we all understand where Charles Barkley was coming from. I'm not a role model. You know, he's living his life for him, which is very true. Very, very, very true. Yeah, but I don't like incidents. Now as he's older, when he's on ESPN and stuff, he'll go and look at one of the younger players and he'll kind of have a distaste for them, like as if to, oh, look at how they're acting, or look at how he looks. And it's like, well, Charles.
Yeah, we know how he was.
Remember, when you were younger, bruh, you said you didn't care. So you probably shouldn't comment on somebody else's, you know, how they live their life, because you don't care. Remember, this don't apply to you.
I have a question to kind of like piggyback off of that, because I don't know if it was Jordan who said it, but it was someone who said it, because back then athletes like Barkleys and Jordans, and they had to work hard for the money that they earn. Like these athletes coming in now, they get this whole signing, but like this multi-million-dollar contract without even having to work hard. So they have this mentality as already got money, so I can do whatever I want to do. They don't have that hard work mentality like back in the day, like you had like Kobe's and the Jordans and like the Pippins and the Dr. J's, like things like that. So
I won't say no.
That could be why he's maybe like more like hard on them now because they're not.
He's
I feel
mentioned
like
that.
it's because they're getting paid so much more out of the blue for an athlete.
Like
than
off the bat,
for
like as a rookie, as a first year, like look at like they get paid so much money and you don't even know their potential yet.
Exactly.
mentioned that. Charles has talked about that, and that I could definitely
That makes sense.
pretty much agree. Yeah, I could agree on that one. Like, yeah, some of them they throwing money, just because of the hype off of their name in college. Like, give them.
And that can be a negative thing. That can be a negative thing for kids to look at. They see these athletes and rappers who get all this money from just like right off the bat, and like they're influencing these kids. Like, oh, I'm spending my money this way, that way, and it's just like you don't know. Like, it's sad. I feel like there's more of like those people in the industry than there is like LeBrons and Currys and Kobe's. Like, there's more like there's more ballers out there than there is people who actually work hard for something.
No disrespect to any athlete, but I feel like the musicians and the rappers and stuff, they get more of a pass to do other wild stuff than the athletes do. I've always felt like they get more of a pass.
That can be a whole different topic.
Because they're not worried about their bodies. Yeah, that's why.
Yeah,
their physical body is not important.
They're dealing with music life and stuff. So the athlete, because not everyone's gonna look at a music artist, but people look at sports. Damn it.
Exactly. So, that's why I feel like the rappers and stuff and singers and all, they kind of get a different pass, even though they still have a form of accountability that's still on them. But as far as the athletes, matter of fact, you have to think about, and I'm sorry to go off track, but they're still athletes. You have to think about the pressure that was on Serena and Venus at the time, being like, even though there were other black tennis players before her, like if I'm not mistaken, one back in history. The first one was Althea Gibson, if I'm not mistaken.
They were wrong.
But Serena and Venus they held the standard and have a standard that's high, that's really, really high.
True.
So and going back to Brooks' point, people like MJ and Kobe and stuff like that, that's a very high standard to follow. That's very high.
And I feel like the only person, like I said this a million times, the only player in today's in today's NBA thing, I feel like Curry is the closest thing to a Jordan or to a Kobe. Just the overall mentality of him carrying one team, one franchise. Like Jordan, I'm not saying Kobe didn't build the Lakers franchise, but he helped get them rings. But Jordan built the franchise to what it was today. And look at Curry building the Golden State Warriors to what it is today. Like they're building.
Okay, I was like, you better lose me.
Hold on.
She was about to lose me, but okay, I got what she's saying. As one team, I was about to say, whoa. I see what she's saying though.
As an individual, like Kobe won all of his championships with one team. Same with Jordan. Same with Curry. So like I feel like he's the only one in today's. I'm not discrediting. Look, LeBron has won a lot of rings, but he's won it with two different teams.
I see what you're saying.
So it's like I feel like the closest thing to a Kobe and Jordan overall is Steph Curry for sure.
As of right now, you're saying.
As of right now in the present moment of NBA.
I see where she's coming from. I can get that. I'll ride with it.
I see where you're taking the comparison.
Yeah, business-wise and like the franchise and business-wise, I feel like even like just being a role model and a leader too, like not discrediting any other athlete like in the league, but like Curry in particular with his brands, like him building he literally built a whole franchise. He took that franchise and made it to what it is today. Like I didn't know who the Warriors were 10 years ago.
I did.
I mean like someone like me.
That's the point where she's making. That's the point.
That's what I'm saying. Someone like me, for like people who aren't sports fans, which is a lot of people.
Exactly.
Like, so he's building a franchise. Look at the Bulls. Jordan built that franchise. Kobe, he continued to build a franchise after Magic. So it's like Curry's the closest thing to Kobe and Jordan.
I could, like I said, I see what she making in that comparison.
As a leader.
Yeah, as a leader. I'm gonna just say for the Golden State Warriors, shout out to Baron Davis and that crew because they were raw. They were raw back then before Corey came around.
Put some respect on Monte Ellis. Put some respect on all the boys.
They were raw. So that's just shouting them out. But I do understand what you're saying, Brooke. I do understand
like the
where
influence.
You're coming from. Yes, I understand where you're coming from.
Now, what I'm gonna do this. Any last comments basically on anything of the overall.
I feel like we
we
can have a part 2 to this because we can discuss a lot of stuff within sports.
Shoot, I'm ready to go more. But shoot, I'm ready.
We'll do a part 2 to this.
Well, you got the count,
Stay tuned,
I'm
y'all.
ready to go more.
Hey, y'all heard, boys. Stay tuned. It looks like we're gonna have a part 2 of this and everything like that. But hey, it's even I'm telling everybody stay safe. Brooke, Cam, I hope y'all being safe during this thing. I feel like a celebrity now. We're gonna get through this. You know how they say on all the commercials, hey, we all in this together, y'all.
Yeah, I mean,
No,
we
but
are.
Also,
We are in
a
this-
shout out again to of course, the essential workers, y'all, of course,
Yes,
out there on the front
absolutely.
line. So we always shout them out and keep on shouting them out, I guess.
Oh, and another
Absolutely.
thing for y'all to listen, tip your Uber Eats and your Shipt people. People who are bringing you your groceries, like make sure you tip them well.
I go and get my food.
I'm just saying people who do, because I know people who don't tip. Take care of your essential workers. If you're out in Walmart, have respect for employees whenever you go out somewhere. Like, don't get mad because they're backed up.
Oh, yeah.
Be respectful, people. Be respectful.
Preach that. My
And we
God.
are the Culture Check. Signing out. My name is Brooke.
Miles.
This is Cam.
We out.